One of the major mistakes that bricks and mortar retailers make is coming up with a strategy on what to do to try and get more customers into the door. So, welcome to this week's training. It's all about how to increase your store's customer traffic and basically ways that you can get around the fact, oh, the big problem that we have is that we're not able to get new customers. Excuse me, I'm getting a bit nasally. So this is a problem that many bricks and mortar retailers face, and I'm going to run you through some of the strategies that you can employ in your store to get you through this period. And also, I'm going to go through one of the lesser known parts of how to deal with this situation in your store. And it's not probably what you think. So stay tuned for that. So there is a worksheet, as always with all these trainings. There is a worksheet associated with it. If you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word worksheet below, and we'll get it out to you. So this is all about the customer magnet blueprint. Okay, so this is really what it's all about to make sure that you can increase foot traffic within your store and get around that problem of trying to get new customers into your store. So the main problem that bricks and mortar retailers face when it comes to this, amongst other things, and one of the major mistakes that we make is we neglect the basic strategies that are involved in gaining new customers. So, many of us, well, not, but many of us bricks and mortar retailers, we neglect our online presence and we don't really do anything about it. We don't have a targeted marketing approach. Many of us don't even understand who our target audience is, let alone how that affects our marketing and how we go about running our store. Unfortunately, many of us retailers still neglect the customer experience, and many of our experiences that we provide in store are not really up to scratch, not up to scratch enough to even compete with the online retailers and maybe some of the bigger box retailers, but not enough. We're not providing enough of an experience in store to attract new customers into our store. And of course, then there are all the basics that we have when we're running a bricks and mortar retail store, like making sure that your store is properly merchandised and making sure that you've got ticketing and pricing all correctly. Your staff are wearing name badges, all the simple things that used to work, that work in retail 50, 70 years ago that we're neglecting to do today because many of us simply don't know how to manage our time and how to manage everything else that comes along with running our business. So they're the major problems that bricks and mortar retailers experience. And one of the causes, like I alluded to, why this is happening to us, why we're neglecting our online presence, why is it that we're forgetting about that in-store experience? Well, obviously, we're all running around like headless chooks in our businesses. We may not have a way to prioritize. We're putting out so many fires. And let's be realistic. Nobody has taught us how do we maintain our online presence? What do we actually do there? Or how do we actually start to re-merchandise our store rather than relying on the team? So all of these basic things is the causes of us not being able to attract new customers in our store. If we get this right, we're going to be a well-oiled machine, right? Ultimately, if we get this new customer acquisition strategy right, we're going to be able to attract new customers. We're going to be able to attract customers at a much better price. Our cost per acquisition is going to be much lower because we're going to know exactly what we're doing. If we get this right, we're going to have more cash flow. We're going to have more profitability. We're going to be able to pay our team members on time. We're going to be able to pay our suppliers. We're going to be able to reinvest in the business. And most importantly, we're going to be able to pay ourselves. And by having a strategy in place that we're constantly getting new customers, don't get me wrong, this is not the only strategy. I always talk about making sure that we're maximizing the existing customers that are coming into our store. But one of the problems that we have is that we need to attract new customers in our store. And so if we get this right, this is part of the marketing wheel, part of the wheel of running your bricks and mortar store and what you need to do on how to get new customers into your bricks and mortar store. So Here is what you need to do. And like I mentioned, it's probably not what you're going to be expecting. Surely you want the strategies. And yes, I think there's 14 strategies which you can use to boost your store's customer traffic to get more people into the door. And I'll give you a copy of that. If you want a copy of that, just make sure you put the word worksheet below. I might have a drink. Um, right. Yeah. So make sure you put a copy of that. Make sure you write the word worksheet below if you want a copy of this. But what I think happens, well, actually, not what I think, what I know exactly what happens in our bricks and mortar stores as retailers and as business owners is we've got so many things that we need to do. So why aren't we doing these things? We're getting caught up in the day-to-day running of our store. And in order for us to implement our customer acquisition strategy, a few points that there's a few steps that we need to take. Okay. And one of the main things that we need to do is we need to get organized, right? So when I say get organized, we need to conduct a comprehensive assessment of our business. Because no matter, I'm going to give you the 14 strategies, even if you did all the 14 strategies, you're still going to be in the same situation because you really haven't set up the foundations in your business. And if you go ahead and implement all these strategies, you're going to have poor systems, poor workflow, you're going to have inefficiencies, inconsistencies, yada, yada, all of those things. So, the main part of getting organized here within your store is to start to evaluate your current business. Make sure you understand what is going on. Make sure you have systems set up, understand the workflows that happen within your store. We want to try and identify the inefficiencies and the inconsistencies, like I said, figure out what's causing the disorganization. And this will help you understand the specific areas that you need improvement on. And then this allows you to set the foundation so then you can start to implement some of these 14 strategies to get more people into your store. So, and then it's really about getting organized and then chucking it down and making sure that you start to take these small steps um, into implementing things into your store. So some of those small steps literally is chunking down. I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's about establishing clear goals and priorities. So you want to make sure that you understand what your business objectives are and prioritize them based on how you're going to attract your customers. It sounds so basic, but many of us retailers, we don't do this very, very well as bricks and mortar retail business owners. Little things like setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and make sure they've got a time-bound goal that aligned with this overall vision, if you will, of getting more customers into the store. So this process not only gives you more clarity once you really know exactly what you're doing, but it'll help you stay focused, which when we're running a bricks and mortar store, come on, is so hard not to stay focused because we're totally putting out fires. And by staying focused, we're going to avoid being overwhelmed by the day-to-day tasks in our store. The other main point about small steps is to really start the process of developing standard operating procedures. You definitely want to do that because standard operating procedures and setting up systems is the key for getting you out of your day-to-day running of the store. It's the key for empowering your team so that they can start to do things in the business, grow the business, and making sure you got processes in place ensures that your whole store is aligned and you maintain a high level of quality and efficiency. So it's really important that we set these things up. And I want to just talk a little bit about making sure that we empower our team members, right? So it's really important that we start to delegate responsibilities to capable team members, identify the strengths and their skills so that we can get them to, we can get them to start to carry out things in the store that we normally would do. And so that you've got time to focus on strategic initiatives and really allow your team to thrive in their respective goal. And so one of these strategic initiatives, which we're talking about today, is trying to figure out how to get new customers in the store. So I've got those 14 stages. We'll go through them very, very briefly. But so now that we've taken these small steps. We've gotten organized. We're taking the small steps. The next thing is you need to get help, and because when you start to do this, and I know what you're wondering, like, what has it got to do with getting more customers in the store? But if you start to employ all these strategies that'll get you more customers in the door without an organized shop, without standard operating procedures or goals, you're going to be in the same flurry conundrum, if you will, of running your bricks and mortar store. Excuse me, where nothing really gets done. Let me have some water. Coke Zero. Okay, so yeah, make sure you get help. So you want to make sure that you either get a coach or a consultant or someone that can help you stay accountable in setting things up in your store. So that's really, really important. And you want to then you're going to start to implement these strategies, and I'll go through these strategies with you. The thing about implementing strategies is that you need to do it in a methodical order. I'm going to give you 14 strategies, but what most bricks and mortar retailers and what most business people do is they get all these strategies. Either one, they don't really look at it at all and don't really implement. Okay, great. Uh, Many of us will try a strategy perhaps for a few days, not really long enough for it to start to have effect. And then we might jump onto the next strategy as well. So it's really important that we really have a system in place to implement the strategies, because otherwise you're not really giving it a full go, and you're not really allowing time for the strategy to bring new customers into your store. So it's a very long way of saying that many of us, we rush this process, right? And we want to be very strategic with implementing strategies in our store rather than jumping from strategy to strategy. So you want to start to implement. And then, of course, once we start after implementing, we want to be able to evaluate what's going on, because there is no use in doing all of these strategies unless you have a way of evaluating what's going on. Hopefully, you've got KPIs set in place, you've got some way of recording your sales, some way of tracking your customers, hopefully, with your point of sale system. If you don't, you should. That's for a discussion for another day. But you want to be able to start to measure what's happening into your store. And by evaluating all your data, evaluating your strategy, that's the best way to do it. So now that, and these are what I consider to be the most crucial aspects. I can give you all the strategies that, I can give you the strategies and you can try and implement them in your store. But if you don't have these foundational things set up, the systems, the procedures, if you're not delegating, if you're not getting rid of the tornado that is within your store, then all of these strategies will not work really. They might work, but they're not going to work as well. So what are these strategies? Let's go through them very, very quickly. I'm not going to go through it in any great detail because you can have a copy of this worksheet. As I mentioned, if you want a copy of the worksheet, pop the word worksheet below and we'll get it out to you. Okay, so this is the customer attraction playbook. So this customer attraction playbook, these are 14 strategies which you can use into your store to get more customers in. This is the same strategies that I used when I was running my bricks and mortar pharmacies, same strategies I use with my clients. And you can see there's a lot of things to do here. You can get a little bit of analysis paralysis just by looking at it. Not only that, it obviously can be a little bit overwhelming in trying to implement all these strategies. Where do you start? And you don't know where to start. You don't know which of these strategies to do unless you've actually got some help. So make sure you get a coach or a consultant, somebody to help you out, to guide you, and then also provide you with feedback and accountability. But you also want to make sure that you pick strategies that properly align with your store. So I'm just going to run through them very, very briefly, like I said, and you can grab a copy. So some of the basic things, I don't think I'll go through all 14. I'll just probably go through the top 7, or not even the top 7. I'll just go through 7. So a great way to get new customers into your store is to enhance your storefront. So this is such a simple strategy. It still surprises me how many of us bricks and mortar retailers in 2023 are not paying much attention to our storefront. We have customers walking past our store, right? The whole retail experience is changing, and we want to make sure that we attract our ideal clients and make them come into a store. And a simple strategy such as looking at your storefront and figuring out how we can make it more appealing to your target market is does amazing things to get people into your store. Uh, Another strategy that we've got here is creating engaging in-store experiences. So this is so important now in the current retail landscape, with the large retailers closing, with online retailers proliferating. Having a great experience in your store is going to allow customers to have a great experience. But not only that, you've got this word of mouth effect, which is so prevalent today, and it always has been. When somebody receives great service, when you receive great service, you're more than likely going to tell other people, and so on and so forth. So by providing an engaging and outstanding customer experience, you are going to be able to get more customers to come through the door. I touched on social media earlier on. And we just need the basics. You can go crazy on using Instagram, all the other social media channels. But I think the main thing here that we need to do is really, as bricks and mortar retailers, your number one step is to make sure that you've got a Google My Business profile set up. And if you have it set up, making sure that you've got all the details correct, your address, your opening hours, all the little bits of information, contact number. You will not believe how many people, well, actually, you might believe how many people use their phone to search directly in here and then call. Once you get your Google My Business set up, you can start to see those stats, and you can really start to understand how much money you're leaving on the table by not having that properly optimized. So that's one of the strategies that you should be implementing straight away. Another one that I really like is to host events and workshops. Now you can see where I'm going with this, and this is all about creating that in-store experience that is very hard, or it's challenging for online retailers to recreate. It's also very challenging for large retailers to recreate. So, this is such an opportunity that we have as our independent bricks and mortar retailer. We can start to create these experiences, these workshops, events in store. They're very, very popular. A lot of customers are down for these things, and it's a great opportunity to bring people together, to build a community. And more and more people find out about it, you're going to get more customers coming into your store. You will provide an amazing experience in store for these events, and you'll make sure that you take down their details, put them into your loyalty program, and you can start to market to them, so on and so forth. So that's a really good strategy, which I love, and it should be part of your customer attraction playbook mix. The other one that I really love is collaborating with other businesses. And I think this is another strategy that's underutilized. You need to map out your customer journey. That is the places they go to before they come into your store. Also, be good to know you need to map out the journey within the store as well, but then afterwards as well. And you need to try and figure out where they're going before, where they're going afterwards. Can we collaborate with these other businesses? Now, this is where you will have to be the driving, innovating business owner, because more than likely the businesses before and after where your customer goes, they don't. They've never. I mean, they may have thought about these things, but they haven't actually put it together. So this is where you need to work with a coach or a consultant, or if you're really great, put a strategy together. It could be a referral campaign. It could be a value campaign that you can use, but you can start to collaborate with other businesses within your area. If you're a local high street shop, this is a great strategy to use, and it should be part of your overall customer traffic strategy and your playbook. So look, like I said, there's 14 in there. I'm not going to go through them. You can pop the word worksheet below and I'll get you a copy. Of course, if you need help with implementation, because all of this is nothing without implementation, then send me a message, send the team a message, and we can help you execute this in your store. So in summary, once we get the whole piece of understanding how to get new customers within our store, it's part of the overall mix, part of the overall growth mix that we can start to implement. You're going to have more sales. Obviously, you got more customers going in, but coming into your store. And like I mentioned, and you're going to get more sales. like I mentioned, it's so important that you have all the foundational set up, because if you start to get more customers coming in and your team can't sell to them, if you get more customers coming in and you're not providing an experience, if you get more customers coming in and you have a really shitty looking store with no ticketing, then it's really all for waste, right? It's just basic common sense. But if you get all of that right, and really, the key here is to make sure that you organize, you set goals, and you start to leverage yourself out of the day to day in the business by following those steps, which I mentioned before. So you're going to have more sales. That's obvious. You're going to have more cash flow, which is, as I keep harping on about over and over, the lifeblood of your business. You're going to have more profits. So you're going to have more money at the end of the day, more profits to pay yourself, more profits to reinvest in your business, and the value of your business goes up. So it's something I haven't mentioned in a very long time, that you should be optimizing your bricks and mortar store for profitability. I'll put a link, or you can search in the Facebook group for more. Just search the word profit. I've spoken about it at length, and as my clients know, it's, while we do work on revenue and improving your cash flow, ultimately also part of the piece is we want to drive profits up so that we can increase the value of your business, even though you may not want to sell it. But that whole process of increasing the value of your business leads to a far more efficient store, operational efficiencies, and you'll be able to set the foundations to grow your store, take your store to the next level. So more profits, and you're going to have more customers ultimately in the end by implementing these strategies. And once you start to do that, you can then really start to take your business to the next level. All right. Well, hopefully, I know that was useful. Like I mentioned, if you want a copy of that worksheet, just pop the word worksheet below, and you can have a copy of those 14 strategies that you can use to boost your store's customer traffic. Until next time, catch you later, and we'll speak soon.